All right, we're here at my outdoor worm bin, and the last time we were in here, we gave a pretty massive feeding, and we ended up smashing a lot of these cranberries, which I clearly have to do again. But this time, we're going to try a little trick. This is a fry. I had some fries in here, and it says that it's recyclable. It says may be recycled if you have access to a recycler that accepts paper products containing food residue. And I happen to have a recycler, in fact, thousands of recyclers in here that definitely take food residue. So what we're going to do is give a good feeding, put some in here, and then I'll bury it up to about here. And next time we come in, we'll see if we have a bunch of worms, and I'll show you how to bait out worms. So you can transfer them to another bin or to get them out so you can harvest your castings. Now, when we were in here last, we started with a layer of dry shredded cardboard, and then we added 2 pieces of bread, followed by some banana peels and some Brussels sprout leaves, along with some green onions and a whole banana. Then we put on some carrots, some celery, some cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower, so this may end up being a little bit of a smelly feeding. And then finally we added 2 lettuce stalks and 2 huge frozen tomatoes. I think 1 here and 1 here. So let's kind of peel back as we kind of dig for the food. And it has been 13 days. So with that big of a feeding, I do expect some of it to be left in here, especially since it's winter, even though it's winter in Florida. So we're talking getting into the 50s and 60s for lows and highs of 70s. And right away, as I'm kind of pulling back the material, we're seeing lots of worms in here. So they have probably eaten a little bit of the top, and okay, right away I'm still seeing, I think, some of the lettuce. So if lettuce is still left and carrots right there, then I know this is going to be a feeding that hasn't really gotten completely devoured. So just peel off some layers and check that out. Just oodles and oodles of worms, and this looks like a banana peel along with, I'm not sure, almost looks like bedding, but lots of that stuff that we had in there is still here in some form or fashion. And here we go. This is a banana peel. Something with a banana peel is they will eat, the little bit of flesh that's left when you peel a banana, and they leave kind of this very thin peel right here, and that becomes a long-term food. Now this looks like it was probably the whole banana, possibly, that we burst open, and they've eaten everything inside of it. In fact, they are kind of congregated in there. And I find that the worms congregate into spaces and form kind of little worm balls. What I'm not seeing is the tomato, and let me kind of pull around. That's wild, man. I am not finding the tomato, and I know we put 1 like here and 1 over here. So now it could be here and here, because this is a round bin. So let me kind of dig. Oh, nope. That's looks more like onion peel, which, the papery kind of part of the onion ends up lasting a while. So wow, no tomato on this side. That's great. Let's keep going down, because I think there should be some bread here before we get to the bottom layer of shredded cardboard. And I'm not even feeling that. This right here looks like some green onions. And, oh, check it out. Just tons of worms all down all the way to the bottom. I'm just going to put my hands in and kind of bring the bottom to the top and see if we can kind of dissect it. Look at those worm castings. Just fantastic worm castings in here. The moisture level actually feels really good. Let's pop this without popping a worm. The moisture level feels really good in here, and that's because I've got fabric pots that constitute my bin. It's one inside the other. They're 20 gallons, but certainly I don't have 20 gallons of material in here. Probably more like a third of the bins are full. And yeah, look at lots of banana peels left. I think we did put a lot in. Let's go on over here to this other side and see if we feel any of the tomato. I mean, 2 really big tomatoes. Now, all of my food that I put in here is frozen, so I do expect them to be able to go through it pretty quickly. And oh my gosh, pretty close to a worm ball here. There are just tons of worms right there. That is fantastic. Check it out. Love to see it. And all of these are red wigglers. Clearly there is something right here that they are enjoying. Let me see if I can kind of deduce what it is. Looks to me like it's part of that whole banana we put in here. I think they're just kind of hollowing it out. Doing a great job for just 13 days. I mean, that last feeding we gave them was enormous. And I think in this bin, we probably have somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 worms. I typically give away worms and get it down to about 3,000, and it builds its way up to what I think is probably around 5,000. So let's keep digging right here.
That was a tomato skin.
Oh, where? Here? This? Right here?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yep, executive producer found it right there. That is what is left of the big tomatoes that we put in here. And check it out right here, tomato seeds. I don't know if you can see that, but those are the seeds. So that they did it. They ate right through that. Wouldn't that be cool? Maybe I can do a time lapse of tomatoes in my vermi hut. All right, let's keep digging down again, see if we see that bread, which I'm not expecting. Now, it went in dry, but we water this bin in after we are done with the video. I take it out and put it next to my garden, and then I just kind of take some water from the rain barrel and I water it right in, and that's not a problem because it will drain out if there's too much. And you guys helped me out because you said, hey, why don't you do it over your garden? So I've been starting to do that. So let me just kind of mix everything up, and then we're going to give them another feeding because it is probably going to be a few weeks before we get in here again. All right, I am really impressed with how this bin is doing. So much worm castings in here. It is fantastic. So we are going to be able to give them another pretty big feeding because I felt like they did a really good job with it. So let's go ahead and get that started. So in this bin, I like to start with a little layer of shredded cardboard. I just put it in dry because I know I'm going to water it in. And I think what I'm going to do is start with some garden scraps. Now, when I plant my carrots, I just kind of sprinkle the seeds and then I end up thinning them out later. So that's what this is. And then I'm going to take this yummy stuff right here and let's go ahead and fill our cup with it. And I think in addition to all these great strawberries that we have here and strawberry tops, I'm going to put some bedding in as well. So hopefully that will entice them. And let me see, check that out. Let's do this too. We are going to put some banana in there. Oh yeah, it's going to be like a ice cream sundae. This is awesome. All right, that's kind of going to be our base. And as I do this feeding, I'm going to make sure that I don't fill it all the way because I want this to kind of show so I know where it is. So let's put this in there right there. And then I've got some more great garden scraps that we'll just kind of put in, and then I'm going to mix this around. Go ahead and put some celery. Celery is certainly a fast food. Other than the banana peel, everything that we have in here really is fast food. So, oh, we got an apple. Sometimes that can be long-term food. And here you go. You can see I freeze everything and then just kind of let it thaw, but sometimes it doesn't all thaw out, and that looks like just a little bit of water that may be collected at the bottom of that container. So there we go. We've got food all around it. We've got the bait cup, and hopefully this will kind of entice everybody right into here, and we'll get a bunch in that bait cup. All right, so now we're going to go in with some of our amendments. And this right here is just worm chow, expired grains from the pantry that I put in this magic bullet blender here and kind of blend them up, mix them up. So we've got, I think, sugars in here. We've got some oats, as well as, I think, an ice cream cone that was stale and had gone bad. But, you know, just throw it in here. Anything with it doesn't have too much sodium and you're going to be just fine. And then we're going to go in with some of my coffee and tea grounds, and I'm going to kind of give them a lot because I think this bin can handle it. And in my other bin, I've done an experiment where I've taken a whole container of it and put it in. That's in my urban worm bag. So we'll update that soon and show you how it's doing. Let me just break this up. You can see it gets all moldy in there, which is great. That's just helping the coffee break down for the worms. And then finally we'll go in with some eggshell grit. This is how the worms kind of physically make the food smaller when they ingest it, by using this eggshell grit in their gizzards. And I use my magic bullet blender to pulverize this as well. And I've got all my worm equipment in the pinned comment in the description with Amazon affiliate links if you're interested to see prices or what kind of equipment I use. So this is a really good feeding, and I think I'm gonna load it up with shredded cardboard just because I'm seeing so much worm castings here, and I treat this as a kind of continuous flow bin. I take sifted worm castings anytime I need them, and because I'm in Florida, we have started sowing seeds and we are building soil. I need a lot of vermicompost. So we'll put some more, and then even more, and then we'll even put a little bit on top there. So now I'm just going to kind of bury this from the side in like this. And of course, I do that and I'm getting some food, but that's all right because this bin is enclosed and I fold up the sides. In fact, if you wait till the end, you'll see how I kind of fold up the sides so it almost forms a lid. And if you're enjoying this video, I appreciate if you hit the like button and consider subscribing as well. And if you like this worm bin in particular, I've got a playlist, and check out this video here where I totally excavate this worm bin and took all the contents out and counted the worms. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope your worm bins are doing fantastic. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now. Ooh.